We'll call this meeting of the Craven County Board of Commissioners regular session for Monday, December the 6th, 2021 to order. Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Smith?
Here.
Commissioner Liner?
Here.
Commissioner Mark?
Here.
Commissioner McCabe?
Here.
Commissioner Mitchell? Here. Vice Chairman Booker?
Here.
Chairman Jones?
Here. Ladies and gentlemen, if you will, please let's stand together as we salute and pledge to the American flag, which will be followed by prayer from our county attorney. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
God of mercies, whose unfailing love and faithfulness cover us today instruments of your grace, give us the wisdom to think before speaking and to say the right thing at the right time. May our actions so please you that even our enemies will live at peace with us. Guide our commissioners and county employees in their challenging work. Remind them that many counselors bring great success. Help them also to remember that they can make plans, but you determine their steps. Teach us all that it is better to be patient than powerful. It is better to have self-control than to conquer a city. Guide us by your light that we may reach the light that never fades. We pray this in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you here this evening to the Board of Commissioners, and for those that may be viewing online, we thank you for your participation also. We do have a larger crowd than usual, and we're sorry for those that will have to be out in the hallway, but they are able to hear this meeting. Several things before we get started. I would ask if you have your cell phones with you tonight, if you would please make sure they're on silent so it's not disruptive to this meeting. Also, I just want to address one item. We had a little trouble in posting the agenda for tonight's meeting on our website. It was finally put up a few hours before this meeting, but we apologize for that. It was IT. They had some problems, and so, but it has been corrected. And thank you to those citizens who brought it to our attention. Commissioners, you have there before you agenda for this evening. Are there any items that you desire to add or remove from tonight's agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose that we combine the general citizens' comments along with the comments that are specific to our agenda tonight.
Second.
All right, you've heard the correction. Are there any other corrections to the agenda? Here none, we will combine the petition of citizens for agenda topics and general topics to number 3. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda?
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. First item on the Board of Commissioners this evening before the Board of Commissioners is the public hearing on Project DRUM, Economic Development Conveyance, and I'm going to ask if Mr. Jeff Wood would come forward this evening. Good evening, sir.
Evening, Chairman. Evening, Commissioner. The Board is requested to go into public hearing as advertised to receive public comments pursuant to NCGS 158-7D1.1 regarding Craven County's intent to convey for economic development purposes fee simple interest in 6-acre tract land of property in the Craven County Industrial Park.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we go into public hearing.
All right, I have a motion to open the public hearing. I have a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Board, we now stand in public hearing. Mr. Vice Chair, do we have any citizens signed up to speak on this matter?
We do not.
All right, as we always try to do, is there anyone in attendance this evening that desires to speak in the public hearing for Project DRUM Economic Development that you did not have the opportunity to sign up?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we go out of public hearing.
Second. All right, I have a motion and a second to go out of public hearing. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Item 2 is the public hearing on Project WELL Economic Development.
Commissioners, sorry.
If you will, just go ahead and give us a little.
Commissioners, the Board will be requested to go into public hearing as advertised to receive public comments pursuant to NCGS 158-7.2 regarding Craven County's intent to convey for economic development purposes a fee simple interest of plus or minus 8 acres of land in the Craven County Industrial Park.
Okay. You heard the request. I have a
motion that we go into public hearing.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to open the public hearing. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Mr. Vice Chair.
We do not have anyone who's signed up to speak on that
Okay.
subject.
Just as we gave the other opportunity, anyone in attendance desiring to speak in this public hearing on Project Well.
Make a motion to go out of public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to go out of public hearing. Any discussion on the motion? Hear none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're now out. Thank you, Mr. Wood.
Thank you.
All right, third item tonight is the petition of citizens for agenda topics and for general topics. And we do allow and ask that you please be respectful of the 3-minute time frame that has been allotted. We do have a time clock here, and as always, if you're in the midst of your sentence, we're definitely going to let you finish. But thank you for your participation in addressing the board this evening. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the Vice Chair.
Okay, the first person to call would be Kim Peacock.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. This may sound trivial compared to some of the things that we have going on in the world today, but to me it's very important. I wanted to address the noise control and nuisance laws that we have in Craven County, and I've read them. I have some here. I would like to read a little bit here of what has been posted on online under Craven County noise. And this noise means any sound which annoys or disturbs humans, or which causes or tends to cause an adverse psychological or physiological effect on humans, but excludes all aspects of the employer-employee relationship concerning health and safety hazards within the confines of the place of employment. Noise disturbance means any sound which endangers or injures the safety or health of humans or animals, or annoys or disturbs a reasonable person of normal sensitivities, which I would like to think I am, or endangers or injures personal or real property. There's a noise-sensitive zone, and that means any area within 200 feet of property lines of a school, church, nursing home, hospital, or funeral home. And person means any individual, corporation, company, association, society, group, firm, partnership, county, or any political subdivision, agency, or instrumentality of the county, except duly incorporated municipalities. Now, you have noise ordinance on just about everything that you could even imagine. But there are a couple exceptions. There are, I see 5 here, but the one that I'm interested in trying to get changed is the domesticated animal and livestock exception. Because I live in I don't live in a farming area. I live in a residential area, and I think probably this law was put into place years back whenever farming kept people alive, and so they had to have. My problem is I have a rooster next door that I was going to play a little bit of him, but I only have 3 minutes. But I was outside trying to stain a fence, and I recorded him. And in 10 minutes, he cock-a-doodle-dooed 45 times. The rooster never shuts up, okay? And, you know, I love animals. I lived half my life on my grandmother's 60-acre farm, and we did everything. Chickens, goats, you name it. All of them, named them. Is that my bell?
Yep.
Oh, my God. So, anyway, I have nothing against animals, but I think a dog barking all day long, which I don't have yet, but this rooster that this gentleman doesn't even need because he just wants eggs, and I think he thinks he needs a rooster. I don't know what his problem is. He doesn't want to cooperate. I haven't tried to talk to him. But anyway, I think that needs to be looked into. There should be some amount of footage or something between properties, because there might be 30, 40 feet between homes. And I have been very ill. I'm recuperating from major surgery. Now my husband is. And we can't even sit out on our front porch or have company over because this rooster, for some reason.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you speaking to the
I
board.
wish I had more time. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, when you come up, if you would, please state your name and your address before you speak, okay? Next is Sarah Benachek.
I think you left your notepad up here, ma'am.
Oh, thank you.
I'm going to set a timer for your sake. Good evening.
Always look over there.
Oh, thank you. Good evening, Chairman and fellow board members. My name is Sarah Benachek. I am the newly elected Craven County GOP Chairman. And tonight I bring forth a resolution for your consideration.
Your address, sir.
I apologize. 812 Sherman Point Lane, New Bern. I bring forth a resolution for your consideration in regards to the COVID-19 vaccine mandates. Whereas government or employer requirements for vaccination violate basic human freedom, allowing individuals to make decisions about their own medical treatment and what is injected into their bodies. Federal vaccine mandates have never occurred in the United States at any time in our history. Parents are the only acceptable authority over the medical treatment of their children. Depriving citizens the right to employment if they refuse the vaccination goes against the basic freedoms of citizens of the United States. Issuing dishonorable discharges to any serviceman who refuses to comply with the vaccine mandate is a total insult to the brave men and women who serve in the armed forces. Scientific data shows that individuals who contract the COVID-19 virus and recover have up to 20 times the protection than vaccinated individuals. Vaccinated individuals continue to be a risk to contract the virus and become ill. School-aged children continue to be at an extremely low risk for serious complications from the COVID-19 virus. The long-term side effects of the vaccines in question are unknown, especially with children. Therefore, be it resolved that COVID-19 vaccines are not mandatory for employees of Craven County government, that agencies receiving Craven County government funds shall not require mandatory vaccinations of their employees. Further, be it further resolved that private businesses in Craven County are strongly encouraged not to require mandatory vaccinations of their employees and shall not require patrons, customers to show proof of vaccination, and that the Craven County Board of Commissioners strongly opposes the issuing of dishonorable discharges to the members of the armed services who refuse the COVID-19 vaccine, especially those stationed in facilities located in Craven County. Craven County COVID-19 vaccine clinics for the purpose of mandatory vaccination of children attending Craven County schools shall not be established. And ladies and gentlemen of the board, I thank you for your time and look forward to working with you on this resolution and the feedback that you hopefully will give us soon. So, thank you.
Ms. Benachek, did you leave a copy with the clerk?
Yes, sir, I did. I gave her 7.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next person to speak is Hal James.
I'm Hal James. I live at 305 Calico Drive, and address is New Bern, but it's in the county, it's not in the city. I'm here to urge you to support the petition that you just heard. Find my glasses, doggone it.
Out here.
Here you go. To adopt a resolution that the Craven County Republican Party voted unanimously to have the chairman ask you to adopt. All of you are well aware that the United States of America has become mankind's best and last hope to retain our God-given right to personal freedom. No element of government has the right to dictate how we use our medication individually. That is, each person has a sovereign right, in my opinion, and I think all y'all would agree with me on that. I believe I also have earned the right to address one particular aspect of this resolution. I served in the U.S. Army for 43 years, 4 months, and 10 days. I know that at least a couple of you all have also served in the military. I think we have all 3 branches of military represented here tonight. I'm well aware that a given lawful order, all military service members are obligated to follow that order. If given an order to take this experimental medication, I'm sure that most service members have been thoroughly trained to just get in line and take the shot. The very notion that if they are knowledgeable enough to refuse that shot, or they want to exercise their freedom to have their medication be what they want it to be, they would be subject to a dishonorable discharge, and I just think that's terrible. Please don't stand by and not do all you can to prevent mandated COVID shots.
Thank you. Rayner James.
Good evening. I am Rayner James. I live at 305 Calico Drive. And thank you for moving this part of the program up. I appreciate that. Governments are instituted among people. The primary purpose of it is to protect the persons and the God-given rights of citizens. If government doesn't do that well, it doesn't much matter what else they do well, because it pales in comparison. Government at various levels is trying to impose tyranny on we the people. I want you all to please adopt this resolution or something that is very significantly similar and stand between we the people and a tyrannical government. I feel it's your duty to do that. I am asking you to do that. Please.
Thank you. The next person to speak would be Alan Harrod.
Good evening. Mr. Chairman and the members of the Board of Commissioners, I appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight. I'll make this short. I have presented
Alan, name and address.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Alan Harrop, address 909 Cara Drive, down in Fairfield Harbor. Anyway, I presented to the Secretary a petition with 446 names of people who are opposed to mandatory vaccines and in support of the resolution that I also favor. I just wanted to say that although the resolution it addresses issues that are not currently in force. For example, there's no vaccine passport required in Craven County. The children going to school are not required to be vaccinated yet. The purpose of the resolution is for Craven County, and particularly the Board of Commissioners, to take a stance against things that may happen. I think we're all aware of what's going on in the country. New York City, being a leader, has just announced some very restrictive mandates, and we just want to make sure that the citizens of Craven County know that the Board of Commissioners is there for them and against these, what I consider to be unlawful actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker would be Kim Fink.
Good evening. It's been a while since I've stood before you. Last time was probably fighting Common Core, so you know this has got to be important to me to get up and do this again. So anyway, I'm Kim Fink, 646 Goose Creek Road, Dewburn, and I want to talk to you guys about science, the buzzword in culture today. Our science and our society has always been recognized with logic. Logic. That's my problem and my question with all the COVID protocols that we've endured over the past almost 2 years. I can't grasp how we as a society have gone from 2 weeks to slow the spread to get the jab or you're fired. I can't grasp how we've allowed ourselves to be pushed to the point of hysteria over an illness that's at least 98% recoverable. There has to be more to this with that push for the shot. Is this part of a great experiment to find out how easily the population will capitulate to the tyranny of government? Or just a way of keeping us continually divided? We are being censored on our opinions. We are forced to defend our position, either way, for or against. The government tells us to follow the science, but the only science that they follow is one that fits their narrative. Science tells us that natural immunity works, but in this case it's ignored. We have to take a stand for ourselves and to accept the risk and responsibility for our own decisions. And as elected officials, you represent us, and you need to stand with us and help us protect our freedom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker would be Glenn Fink.
Yes, Glenn Fink, 646 Goose Creek Road, New Bern, North Carolina. My comments are pretty brief. First, I support everything Kim just said, and secondly, I support the purpose of the resolution, vaccine mandates. Understanding there are portions of the resolution are not in direct control of this body. But the main point is to be clear and know that our county stands for freedom and do not support government mandates at any level, local, state, or federal. Since we have King Cooper and his Court Stein, we will not ever get any support at that level. So I'm so thankful for the other states and organizations that have pushed back and have currently gotten stays of execution for citizens of our county. And if it weren't for that, we wouldn't be where we're at, even though we don't know where the future is going to take us. Therefore, we must let our voices be heard. We stand on the side of freedom and all those who are doing the heavy lifting. And before I close, I'll just give a brief piece of science, and then I will close. I got COVID. I went and got the antibody. I went to a Connex that had 5 people in there while I was getting mine. Everybody was asked had they been vaccinated. My data showed that 20% of the people in that Connex had been unvaccinated. 80%, meaning the other 4 that went through that process, had been vaccinated. That's my data. Thank you.
Thank you. Last speaker on the list would be Jennifer Dacey.
Jennifer Dacey, 139 Trent Shores Drive, Trent Woods. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the Board of Commissioners. I want to thank you also for adjusting the agenda, and I rise in support of this resolution as well. And I want to thank all the members of the public who came out tonight in support of it, because I want you to understand that the members of the public here tonight are speaking on behalf of the thousands in our community who would not come out and speak on their own for fear of reprisal. They would be quite fearful of losing their jobs, and I have spent much of the last several months making sure that those folks who are in a situation where they need legal counsel and need assistance in getting a religious or a medical exemption have retained that counsel. We have approximately 19,000 active duty Navy and Marine Corps in this country who missed the deadline, are not vaccinated, and they are in the midst of their appeals, and many of them live right here in this county. And I feel real strongly that we need to show them, if we really are the military-friendly state and the military-friendly area that we profess to be, that we actually stand with them. They took an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution, and at the moment they're not being allowed to exercise their constitutional rights that they have taken an oath to protect for the rest of us. And so I would strongly encourage you to support this resolution, although I understand there may be things you need to do to make it acceptable to this board. But I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the final person that's signed up. I don't know if anyone else would like to speak, but that's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. We appreciate it. Thank you for those that addressed the Board of Commissioners this evening. All right, next on the agenda this evening is the consent agenda. You have there a list of the items. The first one is the minutes of the November 15, 2021 regular session, the tax releases and refunds, the settlement of taxes upon vacancy during the term of our former collections tax collector, the military service person of the quarter resolution, donation to the Sheriff's Department another donation, and then a planning budget amendment for E911.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we accept the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda as presented. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner McCabe?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Bucher?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes, thank you. Commissioners, at the first meeting of every December, it is our time to have the reorganization of the Board of Commissioners. And the first item for this reorganization would be the election of chairman. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to the county attorney who will preside over that election.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. As the board is familiar from past elections, we'll basically open the floor to nominations. You just need to make a nomination without a second. Then once all the nominations appear to be closed, I will ask for a motion and second and vote that the nominations be closed. If there is one nomination, I'll ask for a roll call vote, and each commissioner can vote yes or no. If there are multiple nominations, when we ask for the roll call, you'll vote by last name for a nominee. Is that clear to everyone? Excellent, thank you. With that, I will open the floor for nominations for the position of chairperson for the Craven County Board of Commissioners. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Chairman Jason Jones for the role of chairman.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
Further nominations?
I'd like to nominate Daniel Booker.
Second.
Okay, so we've got Commissioner Jones and Commissioner Bucher. Any further nominations? I would ask for a motion that the nominations be closed.
So moved.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And with that, I will ask the clerk to call the roll. Please vote by stating the last name of the candidate for whom you are supporting. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Which candidate? The last name of the candidate.
Jones.
Commissioner Liner?
Jones.
Commissioner Mark?
Jones.
Commissioner McCabe?
Jones.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Jones.
Vice Chairman Bucher?
Jones.
Oh, man. You really got on.
Very good, Dan.
Hey, Danny.
Jones.
This time we're going to swear in the new chairman, correct? Mm-hmm. Thank you, ma'am.
I bet we have a Bible holder. Right here, all right, Miss Emily, if you'll hold the Bible for your dad, and he's going to put his left hand on it. She jumped in front of me. Third person, so you just have to respond at the end of the question. Do you, Jason Jones, solemnly and sincerely swear that you'll support and maintain the Constitution and the laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina not inconsistent therewith, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of your office as chairman of the Craven County Board of Commissioners?
I will.
Will you faithfully and truly, to the best of your skill and ability, execute the duties of the office of chairman of the Craven County Board of Commissioners, so help you God?
I will.
We will have your autograph.
The next would be the election of the vice chair, and I'm going to ask if the county attorney will handle that election also, please, sir.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and with your permission and the board's permission, we will follow the same procedure as we did for the election of chairman. And with that, I would like to open the floor for nominations for vice chairperson of the Craven County Board of Commissioners.
I nominate Denny Booker.
Who do you nominate?
Denny.
Denny Booker.
Second.
Other nominations? Would then ask for a motion that the nominations be closed.
So moved.
Okay.
And a second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. And even though under the rules of procedure, Mr. Booker could be named vice chairman by acclamation, I do not want to do that in my temporary role, so I'll ask for a roll call vote with a aye or nay in support or in opposition to Mr. Booker as vice chairman.
Commissioner Smith?
Aye.
Commissioner Liner?
Aye.
Commissioner Mark?
Aye.
Commissioner McCabe?
Aye.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Aye.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Aye.
Chairman Jones?
Aye.
Do you, Denny Booker, solemnly and sincerely swear that you'll support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that you'll faithfully discharge the duties of your office as Vice Chairman of the Craven County Board of Commissioners? Will you faithfully and truly, to the best of your skill and ability, execute the duties of the office of Vice Chairman of the Craven County Board of Commissioners, so help you God? I will.
Mr. Vice Chair, any comments you want to make?
No, I appreciate everybody's confidence. I told your grandparents that I've enjoyed the last 3 years and your leadership this past year, and I look forward to another year. So, thank you.
Yep. Also, I'd like to thank my fellow board members for the confidence you have placed in me for another term. I commend this board for working together for the people. That's what we're here for. And I think each of you come to every meeting to do that, to do what's best in the interest of the citizens in this room and all across this county. And I appreciate that. Regardless of our party affiliations or who we are, we all come from different backgrounds, different areas of the county, but we're all here for the right reason. And it is an honor to serve with you, sir, too. I appreciate you for your wisdom. One other item before we take a recess this evening. We're honored, Craven County's honored, to have one of our Board of Commissioners serve on the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners Board of Directors. That commissioner is Commissioner Theron McCabe, and he will represent a number of counties here in the eastern part of the state, be our representative to go to board meetings on a regular basis to conduct business on the behalf of the county. And we're honored this evening to have with us Mr. Kevin Leonard, who is the Executive Director of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, to come from Wayne County. He's here. He drove a long ways to be here to swear in Commissioner McCabe. And so at this time, I'm going to ask if y'all will to come forward to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Vice Chairman, congratulations on
Thank you.
being reelected as chair, vice chair. Why don't we do this? Commissioner McCabe, congratulations. You want to stand over here? If I could just tell you a little bit about the office that your fellow commissioners getting ready to hold. Y'all might be familiar with it, but maybe folks in the audience and the public would like to know. The Association of County Commissioners has really deep ties in Craven County. It started here. C.E. Foy, County Commissioner in 1908, started the Association of County Commissioners, which represents all 100 counties in the state of North Carolina. There are 587 county commissioners. We have a 50-member board that represents you statewide. Commissioner McCabe was elected to represent District 3, which represents Carteret, Craven, Duplin, Greene, Jones, Lenoir, Onslow, Pamlico, and Wayne County. And so we are thrilled, Commissioner McCabe, that you will be on our board of directors, and I would like to administer the oath to our board of directors at this time.
Let her have the Bible.
Yep. Raise your right hand. At the end, if you'll affirm. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and truly execute the duties as a member of the Board of Directors of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners to the best of your skill and ability, bearing true allegiance and acting in accordance with the law and the Association Constitution, so help you God? Yes, I do. Congratulations.
Mr. Leonard, we don't have representation from your office here too often, and that's not because you don't want to be here. You have a lot of responsibilities over 100 counties, but since you are here, I think it would be beneficial to not only our board, but to the citizens of this county to hear a little bit about what the association's doing. So if you don't mind sharing with us.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. I know you'll have a busy agenda tonight. It's a celebration tonight with being sworn back in as the chair and the vice chair, so I really appreciate the time. There are lots of things that I could bring to you and to the board and to the public to talk about, but I think I'd like to talk to you about two things. Your state association has been working on an opioid settlement, bless you, a statewide opioid settlement, which y'all have been participating in, and I'd like to tell you about that. And then also I want to brief you on the American Rescue Plan dollars that are coming from Washington and the work that the association is planning to do on that front. So for members of the public who may not be aware, the association's been coordinating and working on behalf of our 100 counties over the past 4 years on opioid litigation, which has just devastated the United States and North Carolina counties specifically. It's had over 19,000 North Carolinians have lost their lives to opioid deaths. I'm going to guess that people in this room know people, members of family, friends who have been touched by this crisis. Counties and some municipalities in the state of North Carolina, so there were 76 counties and 17 cities, sued the manufacturers and distributors. And this past summer, a lawsuit settlement was reached. It's only the second largest settlement in the United States history. And this has been some of the most complex litigation that has ever been worked on, including that of the tobacco settlement. So North Carolina will receive over $850 million specifically to work on treatment of the opioid crisis. I think I looked at numbers, and I think the number's around $8.3 million in Craven County over the next 18 years that will come to your county to work on these issues, to help those who have suffered through this, to help those who are suffering through it now. And we're pretty proud of our work in this area. Your state association took a lead in negotiating with the Department of Justice here in North Carolina. And of the $850 million coming to North Carolina counties, 85% of that will be going directly to counties. It's the best in the nation, and I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. It truly is the best percentage number of funds coming from the settlement to directly to your counties. In other states, they've set up abatement funds that are governed by a structure our counties. You told us, the association, that you really wanted those funds to come directly through your county. So you spend it best, because we know counties spend, y'all know what you're doing at the local level. So that will start, and I think y'all have signed up. I'm looking at your manager and your county attorney. Y'all were early adopters of the memorandum of agreement, as well as the national settlement will become official on January the 2nd, and funds will start to come into the counties in April and in June of next year. So there's a lot more detail to share on that, and it will be coming. And by the way, working with your county attorney and your county manager, Jack Veit, is always a pleasure. A leader in the state, and is constantly on our calls, our briefing calls with county managers. And so I just wanted to give Jack a shout out there and say thanks for all your support, Jack. So the second thing I wanted to discuss is the American Rescue Plan. I know that there are certain feelings about funds potentially coming down from Washington. There always are. It's a subject matter. But the fact is that there are monies coming from Washington to all of our counties, not only in North Carolina, but in the United States. So last March, when ARP was signed into law, counties across North Carolina collectively will receive about $2 billion. That's a significant amount of money. And it's to be spent on very specific things to recover from COVID and the pandemic, but also investment into infrastructure. It can be invested in water and sewer projects and broadband and things such as that. In Craven County, I think the number hovers somewhere around $20 million over the next 5 years. Different from the CARES Act money that came in at the first of the pandemic. That had to be spent in a very short period of time. This money can be spent over 5 years. And on behalf of the association, we've been telling counties, not only Craven, but the other 99, to really think strategically about how to use those dollars. Because $20 million, while it sounds like a lot, it can go away real fast, especially when you're working on capital projects and big infrastructure projects. So, in fact, Commissioner McCabe received a memo from me today. We were having a special called meeting on this Friday, December the 10th. We're getting ready to seek approval from the board to launch something that I think will be transformational for the association. We're standing up a new endeavor, a new department in the association that will be, if it's approved by the board, it will be called the Strategic Member Services Foundation. And a reason for that, we, the association, are receiving funds from the General Assembly to help Craven County, to help all 99 counties with technical assistance, how to plan for your ARP funds, how to have facilitated conversations about what you may want to do with those funds, but also to help the county work through compliance matters and compliance issues. Because, as you know, when you receive significant funds from the federal government, it just doesn't come without a lot of strings, I should say. And so the U.S. Treasury has a lot of guidance and a lot of forms to fill out. And as your county manager and I were talking about before the meeting, this association has been given funds by the General Assembly and by the federal government to help you. So at no charge to you, if you wish to take part in that voluntary guidance and assistance, it's an extra pair of hands that can help you plan, that can have those strategic conversations with your board about what you want to do, whether it's a capital project or the compliance side. And so that is our aim, is to try to be of service to you and to the rest of the counties in the state of North Carolina by standing up this new endeavor. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm excited to talk to our board about it on Friday. I've talked to our executive officers, which, by the way, I bring greetings from your fellow commissioner, Frank Williams in Brunswick County, our current president, and our executive committee. We briefed them last Friday, and they are pretty excited about it as well. So I could go further, but I want to be very cognizant of your time, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board. And Commissioner McCabe, congratulations, and we look forward to working with you on the board. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any, and again, love being in Craven County, so thanks for having me.
Any questions from the board? After he finishes, you can address it. No problem, no problem. The only thing I will say is that, Kevin, the opioid lawsuit, those funds that are going to come here, the county has already invested taxpayers' dollars. We've got an individual now, that's what her role is to bring awareness to campaign. We've made a big investment under former Chairman Mark to try to tackle this issue in our county. Our sheriff, since being elected, has done a fabulous job in trying to track down this. And so we're looking forward. We don't like lawsuits, but these funds are going to really, I think, assist us in what we're already doing, but I think it has to go to new initiatives also. So definitely tell all of our citizens that there's going to be a big impact, I think, for the next few years to come in trying to tackle this even further in our county, and we're all committed as a board to doing that. We're unanimous in our willingness to do it, so that's good.
If I may add to that just quickly, Mr. Chairman, that I failed to mention that this new foundation that we're setting up, we've already been approached by state-level philanthropic organizations. They want to invest money with the association to help with strategic planning on the opioid issues. So we're going to marry those two things together in this new effort because the way the agreement was structured, if you have the ability to work with a neighboring county or counties or your municipalities, the thought is that you might be able to work to not recreate things. And so we stand ready to be, the association stands ready to help you on any of those things. And it sounds like you all are way ahead of the game here, so we could learn from you.
Thank you again for being here. Congratulations to you. At this time, we're going to take about a 10-minute recess and to allow those that want to lead the meeting. Again, thank you all for your attendance. Thank you to family members that are here this evening. We appreciate that. Come back to order.
Yeah. I'm going to the football game night.
So Jill and I swapped cell phones.
Since we'll come back to order, item number 7 is the establish of meeting dates and times and locations for 2022. You have them there as attachment 7. Before we consider it, is there any discussion about it?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose that at our next work session, we consider, at least discuss, the possibility of changing our starting times. I'm not suggesting that it's an automatic or that it should or shouldn't happen, but I know the city of New Bern now starts their meetings at 6. The main thing that would do would be allow our county employees not to have such a long day and not to have a 2-hour break between their work day and the meeting time. So I would just like to add that. I'd like to discuss that at our next work session.
Okay. Mr. County Manager, you've heard the request, if you will, to put that on the agenda for the next work session in the next year. All right. Is any other discussion on attachment 7? If not, do I have a motion that we accept it?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? And this is to set the meeting dates for 2022 and also the agenda deadlines and the budget amendments to finance. I have the motion. I have a second. No further discussion on the motion.
I have
Yes.
a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Will there be any contact with the county employees to know what suits them best?
We can ask the county manager to address that, to consider that when we discuss it. It won't take effect in this tonight.
I understand.
Yeah, but if you will, please take that
We're
into
going to discuss it next time. I'd like to have the
Okay.
right information before I start discussing.
That's fine. No problem. Any other discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right. Item number 8 is to consider of appointments to commissioners, to boards and committees. You have that list there before you. I'm going to ask if we would, or let's all just have discussions between now and the next meeting, and we will consider it at the next meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Any objection?
So moved.
Okay. If I don't hear no objection, we will defer that to the next meeting.
Mr. Chair, on the Coastal Region Airport Authority,
Yes.
and I'm on that board?
You are. There are a few items that we will correct and update on that before the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. Next item is the Departmental Matters under Carts. We got a request of approval to use the EDTAP funds to cover the omnibus half-price fare, and we have with us Ms. Kelly Walker Cuthrell. Welcome this evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Carts would like to encourage the use of the fixed route branded omnibus over the use of demand response when the omnibus is able to meet the transportation needs of an individual. A demand response trip using elderly and disabled transportation assistance program funding would have no fare to the individual for life necessity trips. The same individual will be eligible for the half-price 50-cent fare on the omnibus. We're asking that we be allowed to use EdTap funds to cover that 50-cent half-fare price for eligible passengers in order to utilize grant funding more efficiently, and we're asking for this change to be effective January 1st, 2022.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? And it is approval to use these funds to cover the omnibus half-price fares. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kelly. Next, we have Social Services, Mr. Jeffrey Merritt for the Low Income Household Water Assistance Program. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman, Vice Chairman, Commissioners, County Manager. We bring before you today a budget amendment requesting to add funds to the budget to administer the Low Income Household Water Assistance Program and also for administrative fees related to that. That total is $193,951 with $161,145 being budgeted to be paid directly to vendors, vendors as is outlined in policy for eligible households, and $32,806 for administrative fees that will go towards salaries and benefits of those who are working to administer the program in our office. This is a new program, as we outlined in the agenda item submission, so this is the first year that any Department of Social Services will be administering this program. This is similar to it's a one-time benefit to try to assist individuals and low-income households to prevent disconnection or to provide assistance with reconnection of drinking and wastewater services. There's three priority groups. The first priority group being homes that currently have water services or wastewater services disconnected. The second group, homes in jeopardy of disconnection unless preventative action is taken. And the third group, homes that currently have service bills and just need assistance to maintain service. So this program started December 1st. There has, with it being a new program, we are learning new things every day about how to administer it and interpretations of policy. As you can tell, I'm bringing a budget amendment here December 6th, and we started December 1st, so there has been some bumps in the road as far as the rollout. But our staff have been trying to work closely with state personnel for any policy interpretations. Right now, one of the biggest things that we're doing, if you remember last year in our low-income energy assistance program, what they did is that they matched households who had previously gotten the benefit. If you read here, we have Craven County, I would like to say, has gotten vendor agreements like we have to do in low-income energy assistance. We had vendor agreements with utility companies in order to be able to administer the funds to their customers. Craven County has been able to establish vendor agreements with all of their water and wastewater services providers. So that will mean that any citizen can apply depending upon what priority group they're in. And we tried to work with the vendors to let them give us information about groups 1 and 2 because they will be served in December. And there's a categorically eligible term. What that means if they were eligible for, if they receive work first services or food nutrition services, or they receive low-income energy assistance program in fiscal year 2021, then some of those eligibility requirements overlap with this program where they'd automatically be eligible. And we asked the water departments to kind of tell us who's in Group 1 and Group 2. So if any of those individuals are clients that received any of those services during that time period, the state was supposed to data match them for them. There were some problems, but now they're allowing the counties to do that. We've actually matched up a lot more than the state have. So we're trying to go through right now and get those benefits to those individuals. So just wanted to let you know a little bit more about this program, what's going on in December. And so in January is when, if someone who has not been disconnected or does not have a disconnect notice and they think they may be eligible, they can apply then if funds are available.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, you say here, low-income households, water assistance program. What is the amount of the low income?
I don't have those eligibility amounts with me right now, Commissioner Mark, but I can get back with you on that.
Appreciate it, because we're in 2021. It certainly must be different than 2020.
Well, they give us, a lot of times that goes by the federal poverty level and what that, and with some of our income eligibility.
I'd be interested to know what it is.
Commissioner Mitchell? And then
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm confused at the paperwork that is in front of me. We're talking about a budget amendment of $193,000, and yet when I'm looking at the low-income household water assistance funds under Craven, it's listed as $32,000.
If you see that, that's the funding authorization for just the administrative funding, Commissioner Mitchell.
Okay. So
and that's part of that 193,000. So we took
Okay.
that 161 and 32 and put them all.
that's where. Okay, so that's the admin cost.
Yes.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question.
Vice Chair?
I'm not sure if I wasn't paying attention.
It's okay. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in.
Can you kind of explain when you talk about matching, explain that to me.
Okay, so with our, we take applications in our NC FAST program for Work First and Food Nutrition Services and also Low-Income Energy Assistance Program.
Right.
So when we take applications, so if someone applied, there's, we need names, some of the things we need: name, date of birth, social security number, and address.
Yep.
So what the state wanted to do to try to streamline some of the application processes to take the burden off of probably local Department of Social Services, but also to efficiently get these benefits out and to prevent other individuals from having to come in to apply, especially since we're still in a pandemic. They asked us to get in contact with the water vendors and state, will you please tell us all of those who you think could be in Group 1 households that have water services disconnected to your customers, and also Group 2, those who are in jeopardy of disconnection unless preventive action is taken. And a lot of times whereas a disconnection notice has already been issued due to delinquent payments. And so they gave us that, and so the process was that the water vendor was going to email it through the state, through a secure email. The state wasn't able to work that out, so they sent it to fire departments, which we sent it, and the state was going to take that information, date of birth, address, social security number, name, there may have been a couple more, and kind of run it against, match it against the NC FAST program to see if there was households that matched up that received those other benefits during the time period.
Well, is the goal to say if they got other benefits, they should get this benefit also? Or is it to say, wait a minute, you're getting all these other benefits, there's a limit to how many benefits?
No, they're categorically eligible, means that if you were receiving those benefits during this time, you'd also be eligible for this program.
What I was afraid of.
Yeah.
Commissioner Liner?
Jeff, you haven't talked about it, but this is another program that's been added to your system. What's it doing to our workers?
This is a new program where, as you can tell now, it's a seasonal program, so we don't really hire a worker for the whole year to administrate. And most likely it's going to run maybe 2-3 months at the most. A lot of times we'll run out of money like
This is going to tie into the same time period that you do for heating, right?
Right.
And that the same people are doing both, right?
Yes. And the SIT program, and we have people that do our Work First program as well, and they have to juggle the Low Income Energy Assistance program. They have to juggle, our Crisis Intervention program as well. So, we do have some extra administrative funds, which, we'll start to monitor the workload and may be able to utilize this to bring in another temporary person to help to try to learn this program and bring them on to determine eligibility, try to ease some of the workload. But yes.
Mr. Manager, if possible, could we have him come back to the board next month at
Yeah, that's
the
a good
meeting to brief us on how your people are handling this and how we're moving forward?
Sure.
I mean, we've already burned these people out. You know, your people have been burned out on a lot of stuff over there. And now another program added to the state. Don't get me wrong, you know, we probably need it in some areas, but we got to start looking at our own people.
Sure, and I would appreciate that. You know, one of the things that we hope, and why I was explaining the data matching, is that hopefully that was going, a lot of work was going to be done where that burden wouldn't fall on the counties, to where those data match would be done at the state level, and then the majority of these funds may have already been distributed to the vendors. However, I was talking with our supervisor at Holly and Tromley, and I want to commend her and her staff and Deborah Walker, because a lot of other counties in the state weren't able to get vendor agreements with all their providers, which meant all of their citizens wouldn't be eligible to participate in the program if you don't have a vendor agreement with them. But she did let me know that I think we had 117 matches from 2 of the vendors that we went through, and the state said that we only match 6 out of those, but we've been able to go through and match almost quite many more than that. I don't want to say the exact number, but just letting you know that we're trying to do as much as we can, in the course of our day to, administer this program that we've been tasked to do. So.
State's still working at home, so how are they going to match anything? I mean, they're not going to help you at all. We got to worry about our own people.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Commissioner Liner.
My question is, I don't doubt, I'm not questioning the need, but my question is there any training associated with these funds? For example, training a person how to budget so that they might be able to meet their needs, on a monthly basis? Or do we just issue the funds and hope that they know how to manage the next month?
Well, Commissioner Smith, I wish I could tell you that there was, but unfortunately a lot of things that are done are reactive instead of proactive. So this is probably a reactive, issuance of funds. There's not this is the first time we run this program. And there's one program that does do that if they continue to come in, but it's hard to find the time.
So you have such a program?
No, well, we don't. Where there's we're talking about, daily life skills of budgeting and things such as that, for individuals where we teach that. No, ma'am. With all the programs that we have to administer, it's very hard to be able to fit that time in.
It's so important, I think, in my life, because even as a child, my daddy was not an educated man, but he used to say to us, when you learn better, you do better. So if they understood, if we understand how we can make things work, and I know you can't be responsible for everything, just like we can't, but sometimes if there's something involving showing people how to operate in certain situations. I'm trying to give you another job on it.
Well, we don't have that in some of our public assistance programs, but in our Links program, which is with some of our youth and foster care, we do try to teach those life skills, with budgeting and expose them to educational opportunities and things such as that for ages 13 to 21. But when you start getting outside of that population,
I see. Most of us do the best we can with what we know and what we have. So,
yeah, Mr. Chairman.
There was a way to.
That's why I asked about the amount, because she brought up a very good question, and that's why I was asking, what is the low-income amount? And I think that's important when we come back.
Oh, I'll bring you that and let you know what the income amounts are, Commissioner Mark. I do want to say something else. This is kind of mirrors our low-income energy assistance program. I think when I did our presentation last year, there are limits as to the amount of benefits that can be received through there, $300, $400, $500, depending on household size. Now, this program is a little bit different, so I wanted to let you know this before it gets back to you. But in groups priority 1 and 2, on our agenda submission packet, if you look at the last paragraph there on the amount needed, it disperses the amount needed to restore services, so there is no max.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that any vendor would let a delinquent bill get this high, but if it gets to $2,000 or $3,000 and one is eligible for this program, they're going to, just going to pay the full amount for products 1 or 2.
So bottom line is, if somebody's out in the county and, Jack, they are disconnected because they owe $500, you're going to take those funds, and you're going to pay them directly to Craven County Water. You're not giving it to the individual.
No, it's just like our low-income energy assistance program. No, those funds won't be given directly to an individual. That's why we do the vendor agreement with them. It'll be the same process essentially with LEAP, so we're used to it, but there is a little bit different with the amounts. And so, Group 3 is a maximum benefit of $600. So just wanted to make you aware of that.
Group 3 are the ones that are currently still getting water, but they're behind.
No, Group 3 is the ones, essentially in good status, currently have service bills and need assistance to maintain water. So essentially, it would just be individuals who would meet eligibility requirements if there's any available funds left over.
Mr. Chair, now how does it work if individual or low income and they have other people living inside the household and they're making good money? So how that work? Should they intervene and pay some of that?
Now, there probably will be some program integrity with this, Commissioner McCabe, just like there is with other public assistance programs. And we do, at the time of application, inform individuals about giving us fraudulent information and the consequences of that. Do we always have individuals who are 100% of our individuals that come in and are completely honest? No, but that's why we have our program integrity workers, where we would investigate that, and if it is found that they were given fraudulent information, then there's a possibility that we could go after them to recoup.
But Mr. Mayor, you're only going to look at the account holder. You're not going to look at every individual in the home, correct?
Well, it's a household, so.
Well, you would look at every individual. Okay.
Yeah. We would take that just like we would in
consideration. Okay.
All right, what's the desire of the board?
I make a motion.
All right, we have a motion to approve the budget amendment.
Second.
And a second in the amount of $193,951. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, if you will, please call the roll.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Liner?
Yes.
Commissioner Mark?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Commissioner Mitchell?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Booker?
Yes.
Chairman Jones?
Yes.
Chairman, would you want me to come back to the first meeting or the second meeting in January?
I had it written down as first in January, but either one, or the board's
What does commissioners want?
Let's it gives them the whole month of December. Let's see what first meeting in January.
First meeting in January.
All right. Do what now?
Second meeting.
You're saying second meeting, they're saying first meeting.
Oh, okay. You want the first meeting in January? Okay, that's fine.
Oh, that's fine, yes. So I'll try to get, I would just tell you with the first meeting, when we have to have our things submitted, we may not have all the December data there. That's the only thing I want to let you know. But I can come back and I'll give you my written reports, and I can include that in those. So if you want to ask questions about it, I'll come back.
All right. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate you. All right. Next would be economic development. Adopt the resolutions, or consider the resolutions at least. Mr. Jeff Wood. And we will start with Project Drum.
Commissioners, we meet again. Pretty excited about this first project, Project Drum. This is kind of a continuation of what we've seen as far as investments in the industrial park. We've got a couple of local businessmen that have decided to purchase 6.2 acres of property to build a shell building. Just a quick history, if you remember, in 2019, the Craven Hunter Alliance built their shell building and sold it quickly. That brought an interest from outside the county to invest in another 20,000 square foot shell building, which has already been sold. They are buying property right beside that one. That was Project Bud. Desperately needed. We had a meeting last week with tenants of the park, construction companies, developers, landowners other than ourselves, and the consensus from our tenants was everything from flex space to future industrial space is desperate for their expansions or for their suppliers' needs. And so I ask you guys to consider adopting that resolution.
All right. Any questions from the board first? Hear none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the resolution to authorize the sale of Lot 19-2, and this is for $20,000 an acre and the total amount of $127,600.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Vike.
Mr. Chairman, just point of order here. We've sold a tremendous amount of land over the last 2 years, and then speaking with our finance officer, if the board has a will, we would encourage the board to start taking some of the money that you're receiving for these properties and pushing it aside for the next industrial park. As Mr. Wood could tell you, land is getting thin, which is a good problem to have, but we've got to start planning for the future. Just here tonight, you have 127.6 here, and Jeff, what is it?
140,000.
140 there. Set up a special fund, which you really already have with the Eastern Region money that was there. Start taking these funding, putting it in that reserve for future development. It's the board's call. Typically, these receivables would go into the general fund if you don't specify for it to go into a specific location when received.
Question, if, let's say, a future board or this present board don't think that money needs to stay in that fund, anything behold us that we can move
It can be
back?
moved at any time, sir.
at general
It has
fund?
no restrictions other than you're restricting it by that movement to put it aside.
Okay, so what's the desire of the board?
Well, Mr. Chairman, there's a thing there that 2 acres are being sold for less because of water.
That's Project Well, or Project Well.
Yeah, well.
Maybe I should have waited to the second one to bring that
It's okay,
comment
no,
forward.
no. But you're talking about for both,
Yes.
taking those funds and putting them in.
Taking both funds, but I know you're acting on item A now, but it's the board's desire. You can do it either way. You have it in the general fund to use, or you can put it over here in reserve. It can be used for future development. It can be used for other economic development purposes.
I like that idea very much.
All right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Liner, Commissioner Smith, Commissioner McKay, Mark, Vice Chair. All right, so you want that included in the motion, or?
I think being on the record here, I got what I need.
Okay.
And just we'll take that, and once the sale is finished and we recoup the money, we'll put it in that.
All right, so there is a unanimous consent to put those funds in a separate account. All right, we go back to the original motion, and that is to authorize the sale of Lot 19-2. Any further discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right. Number B, Project Well.
Another exciting project to bring to you guys this evening. This is the request to purchase 8 acres of property, 6 acres at the $20,000 an acre market value, 2 acres for $10,000 an acre Army Corps wetland property. This is an actual end user. You'll see within the resolution that it is Aviation Property LLC or Titan Fuels or Eastern Aviation. This works really well along with, say, for instance, next Wednesday for our groundbreaking, or December 14th for our groundbreaking, another aerospace-related company that's moving into the industrial park next to them. You're talking about the retention of over 80 jobs and the creation of additional 3 jobs, good-paying jobs.
Good. And you can answer the question of that.
Sure. When it comes to the 2 acres of the discount, there's several different things. One, it is an existing industry. It's an end user, so that makes us sort of a little bit more flexibility whenever we look at that. But more importantly, we've had past precedent where we've sold wetland property or blue line stream property at a discount. We did that in 2019 for Project Tiger, where it would allow them to expand their building. At some point in time, it can be advantageous to have these wetlands whenever you're first starting your permit. When you start to expand, it becomes an impediment. And so it does overall have a little bit lesser value.
All right, other questions? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion?
Second.
I got a motion and a second. That is to approve the resolution of the sale of Project Well. Is there any discussion on the motion? And this is for a total of $140,000.
Yes, sir.
All right, hearing no further discussion on the motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Jeff, let me just say to you, thank you for the hard work that you're doing. I think you're doing exactly what this Board of Commissioners has desired to do, and that is to create economic growth, jobs in this county, and you're doing a superb job, and we appreciate you. Thank you. All right, next, Commissioners, we have item 12, appointments. You have there the pending appointments. Do I have any nominations for any of the pending? Hearing none, we have current. We have several to consider this evening. First would be the Craven County Health Board. Mrs. Keola Perry, she's a citizen representative.
I make that recommendation.
Okay, we have the nomination of Ms. Keola Perry. We did check. She is eligible for reappointment. Any other nominations from the board? Hear none, she will be accepted by acclamation. Next is the Fireman's Relief Fund Board of Trustees, Mr. Daniel Murphy, Township 8, West New Bern. Commissioner Mitchell
I nominate him, please,
All right.
for reappointment.
We've got a nomination for Mr. Dan Murphy. Do I have additional nominations from the board? Hearing none, we will accept Mr. Murphy by acclamation. Commissioners, next you have Craven County Clean Sweep. You have there the application of Mr. William Farmer, who seeks appointment. I talked with Mr. Farmer. He has already been appointed to two other boards under Craven County government. And the way our bylaws state, you can only serve on two. He has agreed that he does not desire to serve on this. He would rather retain the other two appointments. I think what happened is, he went through a list and put in applications for all, and it slid through. So I would ask that that be taken off of the agenda.
Table that.
Okay. Here, that's consensus with everyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next will be the Local Emergency Planning Committee for Carolina East EMS. You have there Mr. Michael David Paul. He seeks appointment. I think, Madam Clerk, this is for a position because of his job title.
And this came through Patty.
Okay, came through Patty. All right, I have Commissioner Liner. You make that nomination
Yes.
for Michael David Paul. Are there any other nominations? Hear none, he will be accepted by acclamation also. And next is the Craven Aging Planning Board. You have Mr. Jeff Futrell, who seeks reappointment.
Motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Liner. Any additional nominations? Hear none, he will also be accepted by acclamations. All right, Commissioners, I think that takes care of all the current. You see there the upcoming terms expiring. Please take notice of those to consider at a future meeting. Any other nominations for any appointments tonight? All right, hearing none, we will go to County Attorney's report. Mr. Eric Grady. Good evening, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good evening. I have one item for the board's consideration this evening. It does involve the sale of county-owned property acquired through the tax foreclosure process. This is property that we own jointly with the town of Vanceboro. You've got a parcel ID number of 1-V-06-007. We have received an offer in the amount of $2,000. We put the bid out for upset after this board's prior initial approval, and we've received no further upset bids, so the $2,000 is the final bid. The original cost of the foreclosure and the past due taxes were $4,762.67. We do recommend that the board accept this offer, and we understand the town of Vanceboro has likewise approved it or will approve it.
Mr. Chairman, being that this is in my district, I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt a resolution approving the conveyance of 1-V-06-007 in Vanceboro. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion passed.
That concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. County Manager's report, Mr. Light.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, appreciate the opportunity. Just a couple updates since we've had an extra week mixed in. We did have a press release go out last week, and I'm glad Mr. Wood stayed, which announced the partnership between FRC East and Craven County for Naval X. It's a really exciting day. Commissioner Mitchell's heavily involved. We've got meetings scheduled this week and moving on. So we're excited about this progress and hope to update the board, Jeff, pretty soon with where we're headed with it. So look forward to that. December 14th, we'll also have a groundbreaking at 10 a.m. related to economic development with a company called ASI Inc. They're one of our newest clients out at the industrial park. They're moving here, or moving their operation from another location in New Bern and expanding. We're really excited about that. A great company, Jeff, again, in that aerospace corridor, which the industrial park's really hit a niche with here lately. We took a tour last week. We finished Commissioner Smith's tour of the county. She got to see the stuff here close to town. We toured DSS and the health department and a variety of other buildings. I hope she got a good experience with it. We had a good time, and I think to Commissioner Liner's point, and I know Commissioner Smith recognized it, I heard her talking about it, when we were inside our social services department, it is tight quarters in there. And Commissioner Liner, as you were talking, the more programs we continue to add and staff we bring in, we're getting to a point here where we're going to have to really think hard about how we grow that department from a physical standpoint. A couple meetings ago, you guys approved a budget amendment which turned a broom closet and a couple filing cabinet areas into 3 more offices. And I'm telling you, we're running out of broom closets now. So at some point, it may be helpful for the board as a whole to go by there after one of our day meetings and take a tour of the DSS building and look for yourself and see what we're dealing with there. We do, however, in working with Mr. Hodges in our facility needs assessment, have some plans. So, I mean, there's things we could work with. We're just going to get to a point where it's going to be a much larger expansion we're going to be looking at. Yeah. And there may be other things that happen, as Mr. Leonard spoke earlier about the ARP money, maybe opportunities there that we can look at to capitalize there. This week, full of meetings. We have our Kerswama meeting, a December meeting where we received the audit. Chairman Jones is the board member that represents that. It's a great organization. Had a great year. In the trash business, volume is key, right? The more you take in, Commissioner Martin remembers from his years there, the more you make. So they've been doing really well with that. I'll be meeting with officials with the City of Havelock, their interim manager, and others, talking about economic development and other issues we have in partnership tomorrow. I look forward to meeting with Mr. Freeman and his team. And we are beginning the interview process for our next water superintendent. I don't know if I've mentioned it to the board, but Mr. Al Gerard plans on retiring on December 17th. We've advertised and received applications, and with 3 interviews scheduled next week. So excited about that, and thank Al for his service to Craven County. And lastly, only because Chairman Jones was talking about it related to appointments, I would reference the Clean Sweep program. A great program at Craven County, something we've all been proud of. However, it's dynamically changed with the retirement of Pat Sager a couple years ago, and many of you know Pat and her passion for Clean Sweep. I met with the staff at Cooperative Extension who've tried to hang on with Pat's energy. Unfortunately, they don't have the time that Pat had to invest in it. So they've come up with some ideas, and we looked at a few models of what other counties are doing. And I would, Mr. Chairman, if the board would indulge, maybe at our February work session, look at a couple of those models and talk about where we are as a county and what we can do. I know Commissioner Jones knows this from Kerswama, but our main issue when it comes to litter on the side of the roads and litter in public places is in the winter months. It's when people quit cutting grass quits growing, and it sort of piles up, and it becomes a problem. So we're getting ready to go back into that time, and I know it'll be a hot point issue come February again. Commissioner Bucher mentioned earlier, but we are working ourselves into a work session here. My projection date would be sometime in February. I just wanted to go ahead and, for the commissioners' calendars, if we traditionally like to do these after our day commissioner meeting in February, we can just take a quick look. I'm going to give you that date. December 14th.